It is week 12 of PFR on Lakeshore PBS. Tomorrow night, they give away the trophies. Sectional championship football, Wayne.
Boy, this is a great time for teams. We've got some great matchups tomorrow night.
We do. Some great ones. We'll talk about them, and we'll get you set for sectional championship football right after this on PFR.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit NIPSCO.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?
Alrighty, it is sectional finals week on PFR, and as we get ready to wrap it up, Wayne, with trophies, some great matchups, some rivalry games, and it should be an excellent Friday night of high school football.
It is, and it looks like it's going to be a nice day tomorrow. So you know,
hopefully.
Worried about it like last week with the rain.
Yeah, I think that's a big factor at this time of the year. Is the
That's
weather
right.
could be a huge factor.
That's right.
If they would have played today, it would be a big factor.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see if it clears up and if we have dry fields tomorrow night. All right, it's time for Week 11's PFR Rewind. All right, another great edition of PFR Rewind. Excuse me, right here on PFR. Time now for our Players of the Week. We start, as we always do, with our Offensive Player of the Week.
Hey, we start on offense, and Brayton Van is a great place to start for Boone Grove. He had 215 yards and 5 TDs against Roosevelt.
Right, it was Colt Wagner, I think, last week, and his brother Colin Wagner came up big against Lake Station.
223 yards and 4 TDs.
Isaac Alexander,
You know, LaPorte has so many
They do.
running backs.
They do.
And this guy really stepped up again. 147 yards, 2 TDs versus South Bend Adams.
And Keyshawn McGill with 171 yards and a couple of TDs against Munster. How about the defense of players of the week?
Hey, you look at Lowell, the 5th straight shutout versus Highland this season. Not just Highland, but I mean this season. But they're going to have a tough one in the
They will.
championship. I don't know if there's going to be a shutout there.
Right. And Jimmy Craven of Portage with the fumble recovery against Lake Central. How about some special teams players of the week?
I only could find really one, and that was J.J. Waters. This might be his award for Andrean's 7 extra point kicks versus Wheeler.
Well, yeah, because he's been nudging out Ben Frederick at Crown Point
Yeah.
here, for the Special Teams Player of the Week awards. And how about our unknown players of the week?
Hey, Ryan Walsh, a freshman from Andrean, had 109 yards and 1 TD versus Wheeler.
Yeah, Cody Russell, too. He's definitely an unknown.
From Portage, he had 90 yards and 2 TDs versus Highland.
All right, how about the polls this week? We'll start first with the Little 5 poll.
As always, we start with Little 5, and LaVille moves in at number 5. Roosevelt, 7-3, a great season. A great season
Definitely.
for Gary Roosevelt. Same thing for Rensselaer, 8-3, and got beat by the number 1 team in the state in 2A. And then you've got the huge game. North Newton, 7-4, will travel to Viking Field to play Boone Grove, 8-3.
Boone Grove's looking for some upward mobility into the big time poll.
And for the top 10,
We got Knox at number 10.
we do. You know, this top 10 has just been very steady. Knox at number 10, still there. Morton, a great season. You know, they could be one of the surprise teams this year. 8-3.
Knox had a heartbreaking loss at
Boy,
home
they really did.
in the sectional.
They really did.
Thought they could have a chance to win a sectional title.
Andrean comes in at number 8, put up some points last week on the board. And then you've got Crown Point at 6-4.
You know, Wayne, Michigan City has never, and never is a long time, but they have never won a football sectional since the consolidation of the 2 schools. So I know you're going to pick them this week.
Never is a long time, I know. LaPorte travels to Michigan City at 7-3. Valparaiso 8-2, and they had a great season.
Great
They
season.
ran into the really a good Penn team. You know, congratulations to
Gilbert
them.
Conference champs.
Yep. And New Prairie is putting points on the board. Woo! They are still in it. Griffith is number 2, and they will play the number 1 team in Northwest Indiana in the only poll that matters.
That's right.
The
5
Lowell
straight
Red
shutouts.
Devils. Woo-wee.
Yeah, 5 straight shutouts. That's pretty good. Might not meet Tommy Williams' criteria, but that's might be pretty good.
That's
I don't
right.
know. We'll see. All right, time for another edition of Mascot Madness. Let's find out about the Valparaiso Viking.
In 1929, all the teams were pretty much named by their coaches. So for our basketball team, it was Mr. Brown was our coach, and they were the Brown Brownings. Our football was Fred Bucci, and so they were Bucci's men. But in 1929, 2 of the students at Valparaiso High School decided that we ought to be called the Vikings, and they wrote into the Vitek Messenger because they were going out at that time. They felt like they were plundering and destroying many of the different opponents that we were having. And so after that happened, we became the Vikings ever since then. In our main gymnasium, we have a mural that's painted up there. And at the time when it was painted, it was very controversial. People looked at it as being so violent. But when we look at it, we're looking at that we're breaking down the walls, breaking down the barriers between all the different conference schools. We're strong. We feel that we ought to be able to do many things on the courts and the fields, but we also like to unite people together too. And so we look at the Vikings as being more of a strength symbol than going out anymore and plundering and taking things away from people. We feel that it's an important way of showing the school spirit.
Awesome.
Awesome. All season long, we've had great ones.
And great.
Another good one.
And I
Great
got the
one.
mascot there for us,
Yep,
too.
I know, that was cool. Putting on his helmet.
Yeah. All right. Don't forget tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Tommy Williams and Wayne will be on 89.1 FM. And they'll have reports of all the games across the Northwest Indiana with our local teams playing in the sectional championships. And then also live at 10:30 right here on Lakeshore PBS. PFR Scoreboard will be live at 10:30 for your viewing pleasure. All right, time now for our Thursday PFR throwback. And it's going to be a game that I actually remember very well.
Yeah. Handsome guys there.
Wow. Crown Point fans might want to turn the TV off for 30 seconds. You don't want to go back and even think of this one. This was the first meeting during the regular season, but this match was for the sectional championship. This was Crown Point, I believe, won the first meeting. There's James Aldridge, though, who went on to play at Notre Dame, scoring a huge touchdown. And the Pirates with Evan Parker here also had, and their outstanding O-line had a huge night. Their defense was tremendous with a big interception there. This was an 80-degree night. Beautiful weather in October for a sectional championship game. And it was actually 2005, and there was a baseball team locally that won a World Series that night, or that year too. So that was kind of something to remember. But 16-13, Maryville won the sectional. It was a crowd of close to 8,000 people.
Yes, I remembered that as I was filming.
Yeah. Remember how great the weather was? It was a great weather night.
It was a great weather
Yeah,
night.
I will
Yes, it
always
was.
remember that. The weather was outstanding, and the Sox won. I think. That
I
night
think
as
they
well,
did too.
in the playoffs. All right, we are going to go to a.
Timeout here, and
I think we are going to a timeout. We'll
Yep.
come back with T-Dub and our game of the week right after this on PFR.
For more information on everything Prep football, visit us on Facebook or on Twitter at PFR Sports.
All right, we're back on PFR on Lakeshore PBS, and it's double your pleasure on our
that's
games
right.
of the week.
That's right. And we've got two very good ones, I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
Lowell and Griffith, we've been looking forward to this matchup all season long. Used to happen during the regular season, not anymore. Griffith and Lowell meeting on Route 2. That's our game of the week, and Tommy Williams is out for this report.
Guys, as you mentioned, it's the matchup everybody wants to see. Lowell versus Griffith. We've got the Griffith coach, Ben Gefford, here. And first off, how happy are you with your football team so far this season?
Extremely pleased. First time we've had double-digit wins since 2006, I believe. So, we're very excited about it.
Now, one thing I've noticed about your football team, it always seems that every week there's another weapon that you come up with. How much is that going to help you against Lowell on Friday?
No, I mean that's going to be huge. They have an outstanding defense, and any weapon we have, we need to be able to use.
Now, I hate to sit back and say stuff on the air and not bring it to your attention here, so I'm going to mention this. People always talk about the, quote, strength of your schedule, unquote. How much of a factor do you think, if indeed that's true in your mind, how much of a factor is that going to be in the Lowell game?
I don't know how much of a factor it's going to be because we have a lot of guys that returned from last year's team. So these guys are seasoned, 2-3 year starters playing both sides of the ball. So they've been battle tested. They've been in the fourth quarter battles. The guys that had to pull out a fourth quarter drive to win the game, everyone in our conference, they might have not have had as many tools as we have, but 4 quarters they're playing as hard as possibly can, and so we appreciate everyone we played this year, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for what they do.
And of course, that Morton game, which was not very was very close, I should say, for a while. That should help you going into this final game.
Absolutely. Morton was a phenomenal team. On paper, on field, they had the looks of, a very good squad, and they play like it. They played lights out for us last week.
Now, my man Wayne Svetnoff and I have had this debate about who's got the best defense at Northwest Indiana. He says Lowell, I say Valpo, but I say Lowell second, and that's a defense you have to go against on Friday.
Oh, absolutely, and I would say Lowell's got a pretty good defense to go against too. Coach Reed and the defensive staff have done an outstanding job, and these guys are putting, I believe under 10 points a game, and those are pretty phenomenal numbers.
And of course, Lowell has some pretty good offensive players who also play on the defensive side of the ball, but they can put a few points on the board when necessary.
Oh, absolutely, and our defense is very made aware of that, and they'll know, and hopefully they're ready.
What's going to decide this one?
Whoever scores the most points in the other game.
Thank you, Coach. That's why we like interviewing this man. Coach, thanks a lot for the time. I won't ask the question again. I'll just leave it alone. But thanks a lot for joining us, buddy.
Thank you
we
very
appreciate that. Okay, let's see if we can get some comedy out of Lowell now. And I could rub it in on Wayne and say, here's the coach of the second best defense in Northwest Indiana, but he might beat me up, so I'm not going to say that. Anyway, Coach, let's talk a little bit about what's happening Friday. Anything big in your life between now and then?
Well, I got to come to school, got to teach some class, got to do some things. We got a great opportunity to win a sectional championship, but we got a great opponent, great foe that we have to go up against. So we're pretty excited to have it down here at the Inferno.
When I say Lowell Red Devils unbeaten in 10 straight games, what does that do for you?
It's pretty cool. These kids, they set a goal, and for us, it starts with that Crown Point game. We want to win that leather helmet, and then we turn to the next game, and then our next big step is the KV for the can, and then conference, and now we're in the postseason. But to go game by game and to see these kids work hard and achieve something, it makes you happy. Makes you happy for them.
And it's 11-0, is it not?
It is 11-0. I wasn't going to say anything.
Let me give you equal time because I have gone on the air and mentioned about Valpo's defense and your defense. You tell us why Wayne Svetnoff is right and that Lowell's defense is number one.
Well, I don't want to take anything away from anybody else. I only, worry about my kids. But, we're led by number 6, Jordan Zusevich. And he's playing in his 50th game this year, which is, quite a feat for a high school kid. And those guys, they just play together. Their stats aren't quite where they want to be. But that's great because it's a total team effort. And that's what you want. And those kids play hard. They've kept us in ball games. Everybody's what's wrong with the offense. We're not worried about the offense. Our defense is pretty stout, and we're going to hang our hat on it. And it starts with, guys like Jusevich, Gill, Wildman, Jansky.
Of course, coming up on Friday, a Griffith Panther team that's been known to put some points on the board will be your opponent. Big test for your defense coming up.
They're really good. And, they kind of mirror us. I mean, they got a lot of skill, and it's just kind of funny that it's the old Griffith-Lowell rivalry, but it's a little atypical. And I think both teams have a lot more skill than what we probably had in the past. So it's going to be a defensive struggle, but more of a defensive struggle out on the perimeter where our athletes are at. They're well coached, and they play hard, and they got a lot to prove. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Wish you the best on Friday. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Tommy. Thanks for coming out.
Okay, guys, you know the question. Who you got?
Well, Lowell at home, and I knew that Wayne was probably not going to be able to change his mind on that. But let's look at the game. The running game of Griffith, and really two teams that have had outstanding seasons. I'm still not sure the status of Tavion Walker, but and I don't know if Tommy might get that question out. But we'll see. I don't know what's going on with that, but I think this could come down to just defense and turnovers and penalties, and
I agree. I really do. I think that they say offense wins seasonal games, but defense wins championships. Now that was in my head when I picked these, but then it's at Lowell. That's number one. All right, and then Lowell plays very well at home. But the second thing is, I really thought the weather was going to be colder, and I really think that kind of gives Griffith a little edge when it's not, because it's going to be 50. It's golf weather for me. It's 50, and I think that could be a factor there.
Well, I think you're right, and wet field. We'll see a physical football game. Both teams have the athleticism for big plays.
Yes, they do.
So it could be which team hits the big play and was able to break the defense a little bit. But I think you're right. Lowell's got to pressure Griffith's offense. They got to get after Fred Winston and make him uncomfortable. I think the Griffith's their defense has to keep Lowell's offense off the field.
Exactly.
And if Griffith's defense can get their offense the ball more and they can possess the ball more and maybe try to wear down Lowell a little bit, or at least fatigue them a little bit, that would be huge.
That would. Is this the defense that I think it is? They can prove it tomorrow. They're number one not only in Northwest Indiana. I think they're number one in points given up in the state.
Yeah. All right. Wayne picks Lowell on Route 2, which we knew he was going to do that, over the
But
Griffith.
you didn't check mark that.
No, I didn't, because I still have those questions in my mind that have not been answered yet. All right.
No, we do have a second.
We have a second
We
game.
do. This one is another one. We had to pick this one just because the way the first contest ended at LaPorte in Michigan, against Michigan City, thrown pass into the end zone where there was a penalty, and LaPorte wins it.
This is something for Michigan City. They're back home. They've lost a couple of heartbreaking games to LaPorte the last couple seasons. They're LaPorte County rivalry nemesis. I saw this afternoon on Thursday afternoon, only 1,500 tickets left for this game.
Wow.
That means there's going to, at the new Ames Field, that means there's going to be at least, I would say, a good 5,000 sold already.
Yes.
So it's going to be a full house.
Cameramen better get there early.
Yeah, because there'll be a lot of LaPorte fans and Michigan City fans who thought, well, I don't need to buy the tickets early. I'll just walk up.
Yeah.
So but they are running low on tickets really on Thursday afternoon. You went for LaPorte.
I did. This is at Michigan City, and I put 2 overtimes here. But I really went for the LaPorte. The key to I think of the game is, if Michigan City can make LaPorte put the ball on the ground, fumble it, which LaPorte has done, and then score, I think Michigan City could surprise. But I'll tell you, Michigan City's going to have to play a lot better also on offense.
Well, I think Michigan City might have been looking ahead last week. They are going to have to bounce up and play better.
Yes.
And the check mark's going for City just because they've never won a sectional since the consolidation.
Never. Never's a long time.
Never is a very, last night the Astros had never won the World Series, right?
Oh, that's right.
The Astros had never won the World Series. Michigan City has never won a sectional in football.
What a correlation here. That's great.
All right, there's the check mark. 1-1 last week, still 12-8 overall, way above the 50% mark. Wayne hanging tough. He was 13-3 last week. There you go. We got all the picks, and there's not many of them coming up. But here are the picks coming up on Wayne's World. Although maybe I should have picked LaPorte because they're orange.
Yeah.
And the Astros had the orange jerseys
That's right.
on
See,
last
you
night.
missed that. It's on the tube already.
Either way, it's going to be one way or the other. All right.
I like Portage over Crown Point. I think that Crown Point is playing well defensively, but Portage really did a number the first time. And
Crown Point's got
Mercer.
revenge in their mind here.
Oh, yes,
I
they
gave
do.
long consideration to this.
Yes,
but
they do.
Can I bet against number 3?
Who knows you? I don't know.
How can I bet against number 3,
How can
Wayne?
you bet against Crown Point?
Number 3 is he's something else, man. So, and we already saw you liked
Yes,
LaPorte
Lowell
over
over-
Michigan City.
Right.
You like Lowell over Griffith.
Yep. And this next one in 4A, New Prairie, I think that, they're playing so well. South Bend St. Joe, you keep saying every year they sneak up on
Yeah,
people and stuff.
it's very.
I don't think
very
they're going to sneak
sinister.
up on anybody this week.
No, I don't think so. They're over their heads, I think, this week.
Andrean and West Lafayette, and unfortunately, West Lafayette is really
Loaded.
loaded.
Yeah,
Yes, you're
huge.
right.
Huge time.
So, but I'm going to keep this one close. I'm going to
Yeah.
say that Andrean can be close there.
Boone
And
Grove?
then another big game. This one's at Valparaiso High School field. Boone Grove's home field. North Newton coming in, and boy, this is an excellent game.
That's going to be an excellent
That
game. I think
is.
you're right. I think you're right. I think they can go either way.
Right.
I would favor Boone at home.
Right.
Boone maybe a little more offensive firepower. We'll have all the scores, the highlights coming up tomorrow night at 10:30 live on PFR Scoreboard. Good night.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit NIPSCO.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?